we talk a lot about learning when we're in school, when we're in high school, college, things like that, when we're in educational settings. Um, there's a term in the legal profession called CLE, continuing legal education. It basically is a requirement for lawyers to go and learn more stuff about the law so they can stay relevant. Teachers have this, doctors have this, many professions have this. People believe for some reason entrepreneurs don't have this, and I would argue we should have it more than anybody else. Here's the reason. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, many other professions, it's a requirement for you to keep your certifications and your licenses to go and do this learning, right? For entrepreneurs, we don't have anybody that's on our back. We don't have a certification council or board or anything like that telling us that we have to keep learning in order to be successful. But the reality is that the institutions that are over those organizations have said, hey, if we want our people to be successful and relevant, they need to go over here and take classes so they can keep learning. Well, why don't we do that as entrepreneurs? I believe that you should study. If you're the leader of an organization, you should be studying voraciously. So if you have, let's just take a 40-hour work week, because we're going to get into work and wasting time and other fun topics in the future, right, Rosa?
Correct.
But if you take a 40-hour work week, how much of that time should be devoted to learning? If you're the CEO of your organization, I would say that, first of all, you need to be taking an 80-hour work week, but that's a whole other thing. But in that 40 hours, you should devote at least 25 of them to just learning. And learning meaning that you are having conversations with your team to have them educate you on their respective areas. You should be studying, meaning reading books, watching YouTube videos. You should be attending seminars and conferences. You should be talking to other entrepreneurs and learning what they do in their organization. And then you should be Googling. I cannot tell you how much information Google contains. It's a beautiful thing. You can learn almost about any topic. Matter of fact, I gave Rosa something to do about a week ago, and she had no clue what any of this stuff was. And if I put this camera on her, she's pretty much an expert on this now after just Googling it. And it's insane to me how we spend so much time working on our business or working in our business that we don't take the time to learn. So I would say, let's say you want to learn, but you don't know how, you don't know where to start. The first thing I'm going to tell you is, let's start with some books. So the first book that I'm going to give you that every entrepreneur should read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And Robert, if you ever watch this video, I'm a huge fan. Just want you to know that I've read most of your books. And just, call me. No, I'm just kidding. That book is instrumental in your learning as an entrepreneur because it teaches you how to think as an entrepreneur thinks. The next book I'm going to recommend is The Richest Man in Babylon, George S. Clason. That book teaches you about money. And then if I was going to recommend you a third book, is The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I would say there's very few things other than tithing and having a relationship with God as you're growing your business that are very instrumental, but leadership is one of those things. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is written by John Maxwell. I'm sure most of you probably heard about it by now. If you haven't, go get the book. You should be reading these 3 books like you read the paper every morning. I would recommend that you read each of these books every month. If that's too quick for you, read them at least a couple of times a year. But the thing that I have seen over time is that the more you study, the better your brain catches on to things. There's a term, I was telling this to Rosa this morning as a matter of fact, there's a term called repetition brings reinforcement. The more you read something, the more you study something, the more you try to engage with something, the more it's going to stick inside of you. You should be trying to, as an entrepreneur, you should be studying this stuff so intently that you can teach it to somebody else. So let's take the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's many, many concepts in that book that are just incredible. But you should be able to take those concepts, internalize them, apply them to your life, and then teach them to somebody else. Because remember, the whole purpose of being an entrepreneur is what? Feel free to.
Somewhere.
All right, Rosa gets a gold star. Hannah, where are you at? Where are you at?
She's attending to serious
All right,
things.
she working over there?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to keep that in mind, that as you go down this track, that learning is not going to be something you just do one time and you've gotten it over with. This isn't like school anymore. In school, you study for a test. Once you pass the test, it's over. You no longer need calculus. You're great, right? But the reality is that you study leadership as an entrepreneur. You can't read that book one time, because if you're going to stay an entrepreneur for the rest of your life, you're going to need leadership for the rest of your life. So you need to keep studying it so you can keep getting better at it. If you're going to need money, let's just go on a limb here and say you're going to need money for the rest of your life, why would you not study it? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you have something you're going to need for the rest of your life, why would you not study it? So I'm going to throw some more Bible at you here. So there's two things. The first thing is the Bible says study to show yourself approved, right? I could break that sentence down for the next year because it's so powerful. But studying implies that you're going to have to keep learning to show yourself approved. Well, the question is, to show yourself approved to who or to what? This is the thing. If you say, hey, I want to be a successful entrepreneur, let's say you have a monetary goal. Your monetary goal is $1 million, $10 million, $50 million, whatever it is. You can't think and operate on a level of $1 million if you still think and operate as somebody that is working for $10 an hour. Now, there's nothing wrong with working for $10 an hour, but the mindsets are different. You can't change your mindset until you change your study habits. The more you study, the more you learn, the more your mindset's going to change. The Bible also talks about being transformed by the renewing of your mind. Most Christians take that to only mean that only applies to Christianity and your relationship with God, but it actually applies to everything. You can be transformed the more you renew your mind and new subject matter. If you want to learn about making pizza, right? The more you study pizza, the better at it you're going to become. Side note, anytime you guys want to send me a gift card for pizza, I totally love pizza. I will take any types. I'm a pizza connoisseur and I will eat them all. Thank you. So, that being the case, the more time that you spend learning about pizza, working with the dough, working with the tomatoes, working with all the different toppings, the better your pizza is going to be over time. Keep going down that path and things will keep moving forward with you on that. Rosie, you look like you're itching to say something.
No. Just we're getting close to wrapping up the topic, but I did want to ask a personal one in regards to you and your learning.
All right.
What is your learning style? What is your preferred method? How does your brain work? And any tips or tricks for people trying to figure out what's the best way to quickly and effectively learn a new concept?
Sure. So what I have found works best for me is I'm visual audio. So if I can learn something by watching it, I learn way faster like that. I can't tell you the number of concepts I've been able to pick up just by watching it. Cooking is one of those things. I love to cook. I'm a pretty good cook if you ask my wife. And I don't read cookbooks. I watch a video and somebody's dashing and pinching and scooping and stirring and all that. I can just pick it up like that. Audio is the second way. I read a lot of books, but physical reading actually slows me down. So I listen to audiobooks, because what I do is I go for a drive around the city of Houston, because Houston's so big. And by the time I've looped the city a couple of times, I can kill an audiobook. So that's a lot easier for me to do, because I can let my brain think while I'm listening to the audiobook and really just get the most out of it. And I'm kind of like on autopilot as I'm going around the city. So yes, I spend a lot of money on gas. How can you identify that? That was your next question, right?
Yeah, if I want to make sure that I'm, effectively learning, it's been some odd decades since I've had to study for a test, let alone teach myself.
Sure.
Nobody's doing any types of checks on me. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do I make sure that I'm effectively absorbing that material?
Yeah. So the main thing that you have to do is you have to learn how to learn. Before you can learn how to learn, you have to start somewhere. So what I would suggest is you have to take a hard look at your life and see, okay, let's just say the average person that comes to talk to me about entrepreneurship that's not already an entrepreneur, I ask them about what their habits are like outside of work, right? And I basically boil it down to, are you reading articles? Are you reading books? Are you watching TV? Are you on social media? And whatever one of those three, most people fall in those three. Some people are just, I sit around and hang out with my friends and we talk, but generally speaking, most people fall in those first three categories. If they fall in one of those, that tells you how you can get your information to begin to learn. So if you're the type of person to read a book when you get home from work, or read a magazine or an article or something like that, it's a great place for you to learn. Google's your best friend. Get on there and say, how do I learn about business? What do I do to start a business? How to start a magazine? Just kidding. But those are the kinds of things that you want to look for. If you're the type of person that consumes information through TV, you need to change your TV content. Don't watch trash TV. I'm not going to name any shows because, it'll prove that I watched them. But don't watch that kind of stuff. I'm not saying at all, but if you're trying to teach yourself how to learn, find something that you wouldn't normally watch. So go to YouTube, go to the Discovery Channel or something like that, and find something, CNBC, all the different things that have business stuff. And let's start with YouTube. If you go on YouTube, and I'm not going to list off any channels that I watch because they're not,
paying us, #not sponsored.
I would actually do it, but Rosa here will not let me. Just throwing that out there, YouTube. But if you go to YouTube and you type in how to start a business, how to grow a business, how to do marketing, how to do legal, all of these videos will start popping up. And then you start watching them and you go down the rabbit hole, because they're going to talk about, if anybody on YouTube is doing their job correctly, they're going to be referring you to another video, or they're going to have other videos that pop up at the end. Just keep watching them and you'll keep going down the rabbit hole. Then at some point you'll get to a point where you can take a break, and then you come up, and then next thing you know it's 2050. But the other thing is social media. A lot of people use social media for the trash, right? You're watching the twerking videos or the cat videos or the people doing stupid stuff on social media videos. Listen, twerking, unless you're in that business, is not going to get you in anywhere, realistically. I mean, Megan Thee Stallion, she apparently has built an empire out of twerking. I didn't even know it could be done. Kudos to you, Megan. But let's be real. Most of us are not going to make money doing that. So, well, I'm not even going to get into that. But I will say, Rosa's just shaking her head. I wish you guys could see this. This is so great. But the reality is, if you're going to be on social media and look for things that are going to help you grow. There's a ton of business Facebooks, a ton of business Instagrams, a ton of business TikToks even. Get on there and start learning about those things. If you don't know how to learn, start with whatever feels natural to you. If it's natural to you to get on social media and watch a video, if it's natural to you to be scrolling through till you find something, go into a business group and scroll through. People are talking about marketing, people are talking about legal, people are talking about accounting. You don't know any of this stuff, so what difference does it make? Just dive in and get some. Then once you get some, everything's going to change.
Now, speaking of social media groups, is there a Facebook group that people should be on the lookout for?
Well, we have a Facebook group, Rosa.
Oh, please tell me more.
Is that where you're going here? Our Facebook group is Affinity Weddings Marketing Like a Boss. Feel free to join the group if you want to get in there. We're throwing marketing stuff in there. Talking about all kinds of stuff. So if you have any questions, I said in the other email, but you can email me at any time, Bailey@howtogrowamagazine.com. Or you can join the Facebook group, and then Rosa will probably talk to you in there. So
I just want to point out the Facebook group is an excellent way to, if you don't know what group to start with, start your journey with us, and we'll definitely introduce you to great people who are either at the same level you are or at a level that you want to be at in the future.
See, this is Rosa's job. That's why she's so good at this, because I'm just like, yeah, sure, just go find a Facebook group. She's like, no, find our Facebook group. So, side note. No, I'm just kidding.
No, side note.
Okay,
plug in the group how they can find it.
Side note, Rosa's telling me that I should tell you guys to join our Marketing Like a Boss group on Facebook. You should join our Marketing Like a Boss group on Facebook because Rosa says so. If you have any questions, feel free to email rosa@affinityweddings.net.
That's perfectly fine. I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Okay, bye. See you next time.